Alright, so welcome back to our another episode here of the under 1000 group build on the 66 Chevy Impala. So when you last seen this, we had just showed you the interior. Our base was done. I now obviously have the engine installed, and I've gone ahead and test fitted the interior bucket to the chassis, which fits perfectly. The steering column down in there lines up perfect with the firewall like I wanted it to. And there was one thing that I had noticed when I tipped it over. All of this right here was black from the interior tub, so I had to go back in and I went back and I painted it to match the rest of the car. So when you tip it over, we see the floor pan of the interior tub. So that's what we've taken care of there. The next steps in the instruction manual have us doing some work under the undercarriage with the exhaust, I believe, is next to be installed, and then the rear differential setup. So that's where we're at. So hang tight with me. I'm going to get a bit of this mess cleaned up, and we're going to get to working on the next steps in the instruction manual for that chassis. All right, so here we are. Excuse me. Back to working on the underside of the chassis here, and we're working on step number 8 there in the manual. And the exhaust is going to be the primary install from this step. So I'll take you through the steps to get that. Okay, so there we have the exhaust. I'm going to hit this with my sanding stick a little bit and clean up these edges. And again, be right back. All right, so there we have some of the cleanup work for the pipes. I want to still go back and potentially drill a hole in the center there so I can hollow out that exhaust tip. Let's see how all this lines up. All right, let's start with the tailpipes. All right, so I got it all in. Well, not all of it. I didn't have to trim as much off the back as I thought. Those brackets are supposed to hold it like that. So mufflers are in, tailpipes are in. The left side manifold is attached. The right side doesn't line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit and dry now. Let everything be nice and stable. Then I'm going to come back and heat up the left side or the right side. Heat up the right side pipe and give it a little bit more bend. That manifold got put on the engine in the wrong spot. It needed to be forward just a 1/16 of an inch more. So I don't know if you can see it in there. It just doesn't line up. If you can see it right there, maybe. I don't know if that's blurry or not. But that pipe doesn't line up with the manifold. So we're going to heat it up later, let this thing dry. All right, so next step. We're going to work on drilling out those tailpipes. I want to hollow out the ends of them so they look like real pipes. So I'm going to use these pin vise pin drills, if you will, and I have my pin vise, so I have that ready with the right size chuck in there. Not even knowing a size, I'm just going to pick one here to get started, and I'm going to go with number 70. Let's drop that out of there and get this set up into the pin vise. Hopefully everybody can see this. Get that chuck tightened down nice and tight. And then that's it. We're just going to find our center. I'm going to get to working on this one, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, well, with no joke, that was nowhere near as easy as I expected it to be. I abandoned the pin vise deal, and I went to the regular drill. I ended up using 3 different sizes. I ended up with 64 was my last one, so I gradually drilled a hole. I don't know if you can see it there, but There's a hole there in the end of those tailpipes now. The more and more I do this stuff for the first time for myself, the more and more I appreciate the work that other modelers put into their stuff. That was not easy. So I'm going to put this drill stuff away and see what the instruction manual brings us next. Okay, so after some review, the next is the rear differential, suspension, and the drive shaft, as I suspected. And I got to looking at the drive shaft really close, and there was a ton of flashing on there. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing painted flat black. I'm going to get those exhaust tips painted, and then we're going to shift gears and get some color put on the main body. So I'll be right back. I didn't show you this. I detailed up the firewall just a little bit on that last night. And now we're going to get ready to go ahead and give this thing some more paint. So if you recall, this on here now is 3 light coats of our color, and I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a 4th coat a bit heavier. I'm going to let that sit and cure for a few days, and then I'll wet sand that again with an 8000 grit, and then I'll give that another heavier coat, and I'm going to work my way up, wet sanding with a finer grit and heavier coats before I do clear. I'm really hoping that this body is going to come out pristine. So, alright, so I don't have the best setup just yet for my paint booth and painting, but I have a little heater here to give me some heat to help things dry. So this is the 4th coat, if you will. So, I mean, it's looking pretty darn good, just like it is. Hoping that I'm not going to screw things up by pushing it to the extreme. You can even see the reflection of the lights there in the hood. Yeah, I'm going to let this sit and cure for a couple of days now. I'm going to come back and look at it again and potentially give it another wet sanding with the finer grit, of probably the 8000, and then give it another coat, and that will be coat number 5. So we'll see how all this turns out. Hang in there with me. Okay, so here we are back with a little problem. So I put the rear end in. Didn't sit right at all. I took it back out. Couldn't figure out exactly what the heck I did wrong. So I went through the instruction manual. I couldn't exactly find anything in there that I think I did wrong. So then I went back to, here to YouTube, and I looked up videos of this car being built. And my go-to was HPI Guys. Many of you know him. If you don't, I'm going to put a link in the description down below here so you can go on over and check out his channel. He does awesome reviews on all kinds of things. And through his video, he pointed out a problem, not really a problem, but just a procedure that if you didn't really pay close attention to, you were going to have some serious problems with putting in your rear differential, like I did. These braces right here, we're going to call them by their proper name, the upper control arms that go from the chassis to the differential. I have them set in there the wrong way. So, yeah, I'll be back after I fix my goof up. Factory, and the main chassis is now complete. When I left you last, I had some problems with the rear upper control arms installation that I had gone ahead and fixed, and got the entire rear suspension installed correctly, and went back and touched up any necessary painting that I needed to do, which there's still more I need to do for the fuel cell. The straps there, I gotta detail out the gas tank straps a little bit more. But the front is done. The pipe got bent that needed to be readjusted to line up to the manifold. So that's all done. The top side, we have the washer bottle done. We have the battery done with the decal on there for the AC Delco battery. We put the decal on top of the air cleaner and the valve cover. So all of that is done with our core support, and the hood latch assembly is done. So that is where we are at for our update for the 66 Chevy Impala under 1,000 group build, which is supposed to be released here May 1st. And I am not going to make that deadline. So until I can get this painted and get this complete, there we are with the under 1,066 Chevy Impala group build process. We're getting there.
And thanks for joining me here for another episode here at Mike's Mods and Customs. If you really like what you see here, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and maybe even share it along to a couple of friends of yours. Once again, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you on the next one.